Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I've actually been doing this tag since 2015, which is kind of crazy that I'm on my third mid-year book freakout. That's always a tongue twister to say. I'll also link my previous years down below in case you want to take a walk down memory lane and see what I thought and freaked out about the past 2 years. Since this isn't our first rodeo, let's just go on and get into the tag. The first question is best book you've read this year so far in 2017. This definitely has to go to The Roanoke Girls by Amy Engel. I actually talked about that, I think, in my May wrap-up. The story takes course over 2 different time periods of this one girl, Lane's life. One, when she's 16 and her mother commits suicide and she has to go live with her grandparents on this small estate called Roanoke in a very small country town. And then 10 years later when she's in her 20s and her cousin Allegra, who she met that summer when she lived at Roanoke, goes missing. If you want to hear more about the plot or my general thoughts on it, I'll link that wrap-up that I talked about it down below, or you can check out my Goodreads review. But it's just so good. It's like the perfect psychological mindfuck that you just want. I know a lot of other people were offended by the darkness, but it is a thriller and I don't really recommend that genre if that kind of stuff offends you. The next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2017, and honestly, I haven't read any sequels. The only subsequent book of a series that I've read is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, and I don't really know if that counts as a sequel because it's the 6th book in the series. We're just gonna go ahead and say that because I actually really enjoyed it. I was very surprised because I haven't really loved The Mortal Instruments. It took me 2 years to finish the series because I think I started it in 2015 and I finally just read City of Heavenly Fire, but I absolutely loved it. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on that, you should watch my July wrap-up that'll be posting soon because I'll talk about it more in depth there. Next question is new release you haven't read but want to. I'm gonna go with Black Mad Wheel by Josh Malerman. I have no idea what this book is about, but I absolutely loved Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I read that earlier this year. It was one of my favorites that I've read so far, and I'm just open to reading anything else he's written, and I know that came out recently, so I should read it. Number 4 is most anticipated release for the rest of the year, and this will not surprise anyone, but I'm gonna go with Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. For anyone who's missed it on my channel, The Diviners is one of my favorite series of all time, and I am beyond excited for the next book in the series. Although I will say I'm very angry about this cover change. Like, the second cover change was bad enough, but then they had to go and do this, which looks even worse. And it makes me very upset. For those of you who don't know, The Diviners is a supernatural series about this young girl named Evie living in the 1920s, and basically in the first book she has to go live with her uncle in New York, and he owns this occult museum, and Evie has a secret power that no one knows about, and she meets other people along the way who also have powers, and there's a big murder mystery, and it's just a good time. I'm moving my hands a lot in this video and I apologize. The 5th question is biggest disappointment of the year. I'm gonna go with Once and For All by Sarah Dessen. I actually just talked about this book in my June wrap-up. It just was not good, and it made me very sad because I personally loved Sarah Dessen so much in high school, and I just thought it was going to be like a fun time to read one of her more recent books, and it wasn't. And so I don't really know if I'm just romanticizing her older books, but I still have my copies from high school like literally right here, and I just don't know if they'd be good if I reread them, and so I just found that book very disappointing. And the next question is the biggest surprise of the year. I have to go with The Emperor's Ostrich by Julie Berry, which I also just talked about in my June wrap-up. Clearly this is a sign that everyone should go watch my June wrap-up because I'm like talking about all these books. Basically, it's a middle grade about this young girl named Begonia who is a dairymaid, and she loses her cow in the very beginning of the book, and so she has to go find her cow, and simultaneously in the kingdom the emperor has gone missing and hijinks ensue. Everyone's paths cross, and it's just like a fun adventure time. The reason this was the biggest surprise for me is because I normally do not like middle grade at all. I just can't get into it. I don't really get the writing style, but this book definitely has inspired me to maybe try other middle grade books because I ended up loving it so much. I loved the writing style, I loved the characters, I thought it was so fun. It reminded me a lot of Ella Enchanted, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And then the 7th question is favorite new author, and this can be a debut author or just an author who's new to you. This isn't going to be a surprise because I've already talked about them in this video, but I'm gonna go with Amy Engel, who wrote The Roanoke Girls, and then Julie Berry, who wrote The Emperor's Ostrich, because I loved those 2 books so much, and I am really interested in looking into other books that they both written. I know they both have written other ones. I know Julie Berry has actually written some YA books, and I think Amy Engel actually has 2, so I'd be very interesting? That's not the right word. I'd be very interested to see their other books and if I like them. And the next question is newest fictional crush, and to be honest, I said this last year too, but I don't really get crushes on characters in books anymore. I don't know if I'm just like growing up or if it has to do with having like a real life boyfriend, but I just generally don't feel that way anymore. I kind of ship characters in the books, but I don't really like want them for myself, if that makes sense. And the 9th question is newest favorite character, and to be honest, he's not like new to me, but I just finished reading the Shadowhunter Academy like anthology, and it centered around Simon from the Mortal Instruments, and I absolutely love him so much. Like, he was my favorite series even while I was reading the Mortal Instruments, and now that I finished that anthology, I just love him even more. The next question is a book that made you cry, and honestly, I'm just gonna go with all of them because I cry very easily during books, and even Once and For All, which is the book that was my biggest disappointment, made me cry, so it's nothing special when I cry during a book. Number 11 is a book that made you happy, and again I'm gonna go with The Emperor's Ostrich because it was just so cute and such a fun time. And the next question is most beautiful book that you've bought or received this year, and I actually have 2 for this, and that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Didn't say that right. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Oh, actually it says Philosophers because this is a UK edition. Let's rewind. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Basically, for the 20-year anniversary, they made these special like house-inspired editions, and I'm a Gryffindor, so I got the Gryffindor one, and it's just so beautiful, and I'm pretty sure it has stuff in it. I'm trying to find it, like Gryffindor looking things, and I just think it's so pretty. For anyone who wants one of these editions, you can get them on Book Depository for like $15, which is not bad at all, especially because it's a UK edition. The next book is one that I received in a book loot box. They sent me a box to unbox. How many times can I say box in one sentence? You tell me. And it's just so pretty. And the next question is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And this hands down is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I read the first book last February, I think, and now it's been like well over a year since I read that, and I just really need to finish the series. The issue is that I don't physically own the books, and I haven't been going to the library very much lately. I just don't have them, and then part of me wants to buy them, but I kind of have this policy of not buying books that I've never read, and I'm afraid that like I'll just buy into the hype and I'll buy them and spend a bunch of money, and then I won't end up liking them, and it's a struggle. So yeah, I haven't decided how I'm gonna read them. I might try to listen to them on audio, I don't know. But I need to finish them by the end of the year because I really feel in my bones that it's a series that I'll love, but I don't know yet because I only read the first book, although I really loved the first book. And the last question is favorite book community member, meaning a blogger, a Bookstagrammer, and a Booktuber. I don't read blogs, so I can't really answer that question, but I do have the other 2 to recommend. The first of those is Lala from Books and Lala. You probably have already heard of her because she's pretty popular, but she's been recently doing this series called The Closet Unhaul, where she goes through her old haul videos, I think from 2015, and she watches them and then sees what books she hauled and then goes into her closet and sees if she still has them, and if she still has them on her TBR shelves, she has to read them the month that she watches the video, if that makes any sense. Anyway, they're so addicting, and in general she's just super organized and always has statistics in her videos and reads like honestly like 17 books a month, and I always add books to my TBR from her, and I just love her so much. And for a Bookstagrammer, I'm gonna go with The Raven Queen. I just love her photos so much. They're just eerie and like interesting and good to look at. Obviously, that's what Bookstagram is for. and I'll just insert some examples right here so you can want to follow her as well. And that's pretty much it for all the questions in this tag. If you have any answers to some of these questions, let me know down below. And thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.
Let's focus on communicating, cause I just need the time and place to come through. Send me your location, let's